New York City is about to generate $15 billion for its subway system.
New and improved subway train is rolling on the Sea Line right now.
What do you think of the new car?
It's lovely. Like, it's very modern.
It being open, we got more places to stand.
Beautiful. Very nice. Up to date. Nice.
You know, our passengers, our customers are going to be excited to board these trains in the coming months.
Better features, wider doors, for example, to improve.
We have already been devastated by the pandemic. We need support, not another tax.
I guess new things are always exciting.
But here's the catch. It's not coming from Wall Street or big corporations.
3, 2, 1.
Coming from ordinary citizens like you and me.
Just got charged $9.
I know. Too sad. You doesn't have the rights right now.
But this isn't happening without a fight.
Congestion pricing is not a good situation. They're treating the people of New York very badly.
Why take it from the working people that come to the city? We already pay enough as it is.
At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. Sure as hell are not going to start now.
Every car that wants to enter Manhattan will pay a toll. Can this really work? Or is this just another billion-dollar gamble in a city full of high stakes? More importantly, how does this promise to change the city? This is the story of a city on the brink of transformation. We all hate taxes. I get it, but they're more than just taking money out of our pockets. They're a tool that can fundamentally reshape the very city we live in. But then fast forward to November 2024, and things took a sharp turn. The same Governor Hochul who once stood against it completely changed her mind, put back in place a $9 congestion charge for vehicles entering Manhattan. Now, for a lot of people, the $9 congestion charge was a really tough pill to swallow. Some feared New York might become another London, where citizens constantly live in fear of non-stop taxes. And others just flat out questioned whether the whole thing was even possible. Whether you like it or not, one thing's for sure. Every large city in America is paying close attention to New York City right now to see if this congestion toll actually works to reduce traffic. And to understand why this is such a big deal, watch this. This is 60th Street in Manhattan. Below it is home to an incredible 684,000 New Yorkers, making it the most densely populated piece of land in America. But here's the catch. The real problem isn't just how crowded Manhattan is, it's what happens every single day. $400,000 vehicles entering the city through bridges and tunnels. Millions of people rush to work in Manhattan each morning, with 1.6 million workers coming into the city combined with the existing 2 million residents. This creates insane congestion. New York City is ranked as having the worst traffic congestion, with average speeds of just 10 miles per hour. Drivers give up about 100 hours a year in traffic. These stats are for the whole New York City. Manhattan alone is far worse. Here, traffic moves at just 7 miles per hour. But this isn't the new problem. As you can see in this graph, from 2010 onwards, this problem is just worsening. Right now, this problem is slowly overwhelming the city, affecting us all. When I think about the fact that New York's leadership has been trying to solve this problem since the 30s, it's hard to wrap my head around it. It's a constant cycle that seems to impact us all. Over the years, various approaches have been considered to address this challenge. Mayor John Lindsay took steps to reduce parking in the business area, and in 1978, Mayor Ed Koch proposed a more drastic measure, banning private cars entirely. The underlying principle, understood for half a century by New York's leaders, remained the same. Restricting car traffic below 60th Street in Manhattan is necessary to achieve cleaner air, generate revenue, and support mass transit. Then came 2007, when Mayor Michael Bloomberg introduced a concept that was hard to ignore: the congestion toll. Apply charges on every vehicle entering the congested area. Here's how the congestion charge was designed to work. During weekday hours, it would cost drivers $8, while trucks would pay $21. Taxis, along with emergency and handicapped vehicles, were set to be exempt, while vehicles using the FDR garage travel around Manhattan would also be excluded. The system would use the easy pass to avoid long lines. The plan's true innovation was how the money was to be used. 100% of the net revenue would go back into the city's transit system. The MTA, in turn, announced the most ambitious spending plan ever, proposing a $29.5 billion investment over 5 years. With these funds, they aim to add new subway cars, modernize 44 stations, purchase 2,500 buses, and replace 57 miles of main railway track, and tackle long delayed maintenance. Now that the plan in place appears to be showing some significant progress. This has been backed up by former New York City Deputy Traffic Commissioner Bruce Schaller, who said, "So far, so good, and about what we expected." Here, watch this.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is actually two different clips showing you the same spot but at different times. On the left side, that's from December 10, 2024, last year, before the congestion tax went in. You can see there's some personal cars heading into Manhattan there. Now take a look at the footage on the right. You'll notice things are pretty different. We're seeing some people on foot now,
And yeah, definitely fewer private cars.
let's look at the real numbers. Since the toll was introduced, the data shows a very interesting story.
For Manhattan's toll zone, we're looking at a 7.5% reduction in traffic.
That's about 43,000 fewer vehicles daily. This occurred in just the first week since implementing the congestion charges. Impressive, right? Let's remember, while the plan sounds really good in theory, the reality has brought some unexpected consequences. Watch this bulletin from ABC News.
Toll has people really re-evaluating their commute into Midtown. Some people are parking outside of the toll area, Manhattan's Central, to avoid paying $9.
Well, now people in those neighborhoods say commuters are taking up all the parking and creating even more traffic.
There's more to this story than just what we see on the road. While some businesses struggle, others are figuring out how to leverage this to their advantage. It's a very interesting dynamic going on. Look at this New York Post article. You got bars outside the toll area now attracting more customers wanting to avoid the fee. One bar even put out an advertisement to pull in more customers due to the congestion charge. These aren't the only ones benefiting. There's another community who's also taking advantage of the situation.
Here you can see in this graph that along with the steep decline of personal cars into Manhattan, there's a rise in taxis and for-hire vehicles.
So new business opportunities will likely keep popping up. But it seems that the government didn't quite foresee this being a real danger to thousands of local business owners.
Well, business owners are speaking out tonight about congestion pricing. They say it will have a negative impact on their bottom line. That's
to have this congestion pricing shoved down our throats. It's going to be a death blow.
Robert Chang is the owner of RNS 49 Liquor Corp on Elizabeth Street in Chinatown. How much money do you think you can be losing?
Well, I would think about like $10,000 a month, pretty much.
I mean, our sanitation company, I can't wait for them to tell us they're going to charge us more.
We are dying here. MTA, you have no heart.
Maybe this is the government's way of making big changes in the city. But on the local level, yeah, there's certainly some problems. But it appears that the government's main focus is on the bigger scope, a more macro approach. So what's that about? When you're working in government, you have to consider a broader picture.
Citywide traffic problems need a solid source of revenue to fund big projects.
And a hope for a more efficient and modern city. But there's also a downside. When you focus so much on the big picture, details can get overlooked easily.
Things like how people are feeling, their daily struggles, the effect this has on their lives, their businesses, and neighborhoods.
And that's when we start seeing some problems. These new congestion fees are so much more than just collecting payment. They're making room for something way bigger, something New York desperately needs. But that leads to the important question, will the plan deliver? The MTA has announced a major capital plan for 2025 to 2029.
It's $68.4 billion.
It's not some pipe dream. This is a necessity to allow the city to function properly. Look, this translates to 1,500 new subway cars, which are going to be faster, cleaner, and better equipped to handle more riders than ever before. This isn't just an upgrade. This is very much a lifeline to a system that's being used by more than 5.5 million daily riders. Beyond just new trains, this plan involves modernizing signals on 75 miles of track. It's a massive overhaul to get rid of those delays and make sure everything runs smoothly. Let's be real, those extra 10 minutes during rush hour feel like forever. For older New Yorkers who depend on these stations daily, that's the difference between a daily struggle and a smooth ride. And that's where we'll see 500 new
zero-emission buses hitting the streets with improved bus terminals.
This means cleaner air to breathe, quieter neighborhood, and a transit system that really matches the city's goal to reduce emissions
while keeping people on the move.
This will change how people in New York move, breathe, and connect with one another. But let's be real, progress like this comes with a price tag. The money needed for these projects pretty much tied to the revenue from the congestion. Every $9 fee is more than just a toll. It's a vital part of New York's future. Is it truly enough to justify the pressure this puts on people right now? That's where the debate really starts to get tricky. Congestion pricing isn't really new at all. Cities like London, Stockholm, and Singapore have put similar systems in place, with results that are hard to overlook. For example, in London, after they introduced the congestion charge in 2003, they managed to see about a 30% reduction in traffic and also a big improvement in air quality. Stockholm has similar success stories with almost a 20% drop in congestion and a corresponding drop in car pollution. And both those cities have actually put the money back into the public transportation systems, making it faster, more efficient, and more accessible. New York's plan is definitely based on those successful approaches. But there is a bit of debate, as some critics pointing out the city's particular density, scale, and unique infrastructure make it a whole different ballgame. London, for instance, has more of a residential layout and not as many people rely on cars. New York, with its vast boroughs and car-centric suburbs, face challenges that are bigger than just what's happening with Manhattan. Another major factor to consider here is the environment. Transportation is responsible for about 30% of the city's greenhouse gas emissions, and private cars are the second biggest cause of it. To reduce traffic congestion, we could improve the air quality and benefit not just from the environment, but also the health of the people in the city. And so the debate continues with strong viewpoints on both sides. Those who support the congestion plan view it as a step towards a more sustainable future. Those who oppose it see it as an unjust burden on the hardworking New Yorker. The reality is, as with most issues, probably falls somewhere in the middle. And if New York gets ready to move forward with this change, it's clear that congestion pricing will be a game changer for the people here. The big question is, will the vision behind it be enough to win against the challenges that are ahead? Now, it's safe to say that the rollout of congestion pricing has been anything but smooth. We've seen lawsuits, protests, and some pretty heated debates along the way. Critics are saying that this plan unfairly targets the working and middle class people, particularly those living in the outer boroughs and nearby states. And what's more is that some New York politicians, like those representing Staten Island, have even called it a tax on the poor. Areas like Queens of the Bronx, which is where you'll find a lot of immigrant families, are facing some pretty serious challenges because the public transit is usually not as reliable or accessible, making driving a must rather than a choice. And it doesn't stop there. There's also a big question about trust. The MTA, which is going to manage the revenue from the piece, doesn't have the best track record when it comes to delays, budget, and management. Some people are really worried that the billions raised from congestion charges might just disappear into bureaucracy instead of actually improving the transit system. There's also many small business owners that are feeling like this is another hassle to deal with. For businesses that rely on delivery, these extra tolls will add a financial burden on them. Small businesses who are already dealing with high costs are looking at this as just another challenge to their survival. But even though there is a lot of opposition, congestion pricing does have its supporters. Environmental groups see this as an opportunity to fight climate change with the reduction of emissions, and urban planners see this as a way to promote better public spaces that prioritize people instead of cars in Manhattan. The real question we have to ask ourselves is, what we gain in the long run with cleaner, less congested city is worth what people are giving up right now.
But let's not forget, New York City has always been a city that reinvents itself. It's seen tough times and it's changed and adapted, and it's always come back stronger. And that's really what congestion pricing is. Another big turning point for the city. A bold and controversial experiment that could change the way we all live in an urban environment. If this works, New York could show the whole world that even the craziest, most packed cities can actually find some order. But if it doesn't, it could really push people away and make everyone think that these big citywide changes are just too much to handle. And now that congestion pricing is actually here, the city really does feel like it's at a crossroads. Talk to some people and they'll tell you it's a vital step towards a future that we can actually live with long term. Then you talk to others and it's just one more thing, making life in an already tough city even harder. What we're all watching for now isn't just whether New Yorkers can adjust to paying these tolls, but whether that big promise of a better, cleaner, and more connected city actually starts to become real. So for the foreseeable future, all eyes are on Manhattan as we all wait to see if this bold idea will really pave a new road or just become another experiment that history remembers, but maybe doesn't repeat. That's it for today. Let me know what you think about congestion pricing. See you next time.